Dear students, after a 1 week of silence, here we are again learning online with the corona situations again. Last video, if you can remember, we discussed about the phase equilibrium. And I told you last time I am going to do the rest in a physical or in person lecture so you can understand much more clearly about phase equilibrium. So because of that, I thought of moving into the next subject or next lesson in properties of material. And once we start the in-person lectures in the near future, hopefully, I will cover the rest of basic Rupiah. Not much there is left, just the few questions and a summarizing part only. But you will be able to understand that part better if I do it in person. So because of that, today we are going to start a new lesson, which is a fundamental thing we are going to learn about metals, polymers, ceramics, and composites. If you can remember, in the first lecture, in the first introduction lecture, we did something little about metals, polymers, ceramics, and composites. But here, we are going much more about this material. So whatever the field you are, you will be able to grab something from these materials, and those or that knowledge about materials, especially engineering materials, will be important for you in your field of study. Now, if you can see in this slide, in the background, you can see a special background, right? So what you can see in this background, it consists of guns, or in other terms, firearms. The reason I put this background into this first slide, because even though these are destructive things, these machineries are consist of many materials. Sometimes even this one firearm or assault rifle is consists of metal, polymer, ceramic, and sometimes composite. Sometimes all of them together. So you will be able to see clearly why I have put this. Because this background is consisted of everything we have ever going to learn in this particular lesson, right? So I will come to that later. And if you can see, though these things are destructive, the technology came so ahead from the last time they used. Like they were introduced in the first World War. Before that, even before that, the gunpowder came along with the China when there is a Silk Road. So that is more than, I think, 500, 700 years back in the past. So gunpowder was originally made not for the firearms. Those gunpowders were made in China to make fireworks. And because of the Silk Road, the gunpowder used for fireworks went from China to Europe. In Europe, gunpowder became very destructive because they found a way to use this gunpowder to the purpose of destruction. They made cannons, especially cannons. First they made cannons, then guns, bombs, things like that. And in that way, they able to equipy their ships with cannons, and those ships went all around the world and conquer many countries we are looking at today. So especially England and also Spain and Portuguese, Dutch. So they equipped their weapons with gunpowder, and they came all around, even to the eastern countries or west, just like America. They are western countries: America, South America, Caribbean islands, and Pacific islands, and also southern Asia, or even Africa, especially Africa. So they invaded many many countries in the world. The reason was gunpowder. With gunpowder came different type of destructive powers like these cannons, firearms, and you heard of many names. Even sometimes you are playing games like Hot, so you may know what is these things I'm talking about. So what I want to tell is, in early ages, the firearms made out of mainly using wood and steel. The bullets were lead, the firearms. After some time, in nowadays we see the bullets are made out of copper, and the guns are made out of numerous materials. Not only steel, it can be a various type of plastic or composite, or even sometimes some parts are ceramics. So I will explain few of those things in next few slides, and I'm going to put the slides even in the Moodle as well. So now I'm not going to use this background for the next couple of slides because it shows the destructive power, and I'm not going to let you see that this again and again for the rest of the hour. So I thought of for a very innocent background, something like this. Animals are here and there, they are playing. So bear with this background. Now, let me again come up with these firearms even with this background. Now here you can see, if you are a Supernatural fan, the TV series, if you don't know, you can see a revolver here. This is named in that particular TV series. It is named the Colt, the gun or the revolver which can kill almost everything. So the reason I just since I'm a fan of Supernatural, I just put there. But here you can see in this particular revolver, normally the revolver is a very old firearm, right? In this revolver, but it is reliable. Okay. So here, what you can see is there are different parts of the revolver, right? So here is the front side, the barrel of the gun, and the rear side, the hammer which hammer the bullet in the back, and in here the reel, there's the bullets are there, and this is the cylinder, the frame of the gun, and the main spring which control the hammer, and the frame it have, and also the grip we are getting in hand, and the trigger guard, trigger spring. So many parts are there. So when you are designing a such thing, always you should think about what are the materials I'm going to use in this particular machine. So this is especially the expertise of designing this is for mechanical engineers. But selecting the materials is special part of it. So mechanical engineers should know what are the materials I can put. So when you do that, there are several things you should think. So normally at that age, the basic material you had to make something like this is steel. Because if you use copper, it will melt because of the high heat it generates. If you use iron, it will corrode with some time. So the best material is steel. Yet there's another problem. If you use steel on everywhere, the weight will increase. So if the weight is very high in this gun, so it is very hard to handle. Now you have to thought of a different material to replace some parts of this gun. So the best place to replace steel is a handle, because doing that you can achieve two purposes, right? One is the heat generated in this barrel area will come to the handle if it is steel, definitely. And also, by replacing it by wood, it will lower the weight, and also it won't heat it, or the heat from generated from here will not come to this area, because wood is a good insulator. So those two purposes basically you can achieve. So by doing that, in many revolvers there is the handle, or this gripping part is made out of wood, and today it is normally composite or plastic. So here you can see the different materials we are using to make this. So don't think that I am going to teach you about designing and making guns, but I am totally focusing on the material part, because you want to know whatever the equipment you are designing or making, it needs many type of materials for a better design. Otherwise, it will fail cost-wise and effectiveness wise. So here in the barrel, you can see sometimes we can use steel, sometimes we can use copper for some parts. Aluminium is also a good material, but not always. And stainless steel the best candidate so far. And for the bullet, we can use copper and brass. And for the grip, we can use wood and plastic. So different materials. Now let me tell you some other interesting facts. In here you can see two guns, like two assault rifles. So you know these things if you have a good terrorist or a good gamer, right? If you have played COD or different type, I don't know whether Far Cry, different games are there. I'm also a fan of many let's say first person games, right? So here you can see two assault rifles. This one above is M16. This is AK-47. These are two main assault rifles used globally, most famous, right? So what I want to tell is the first comer of these two assault rifles, first comer is the AK-47. After a few years, after I think decade or something like that, M16 came. So originally AK-47 is made by Russians. Before even Russia, the first Russia is let's say Soviet Russia. So after that, because of different political agendas, it breakdowns to different countries like Ukraine, countries like that in the European side. Now, so before that, Russians came with this weapon, AK-47. It was very popular. The reason was the main reason was the cost effectiveness. It was very cost effective. I mean, the cost is very low considering the other firearms, and also it have good accuracy. Good, say you can shoot, I think, more than 400 meters. 400 meters, as I can remember. I haven't shoot in really. Haven't shoot using AK-47 really, but I have tried with the simulator in exhibition. Anyway, so it is very heavy. That was a lagging part. Oh, we can see the disadvantage of this AK-47. So because of that, USA at that time, US government, they thought that why can't they came up with a new design for this weapon, so their army can, right? Normally, you know that Russia and America, they are not enemies from the outside, but enemies from the inside, right? Like they are in the. So because of that, they thought of they are going to make their own assault rifle, which is better than AK-47. So they came up with several designs. They have done several researches, and finally they came with this M60 after many researches and designs. So in M16, the reason here. So you can see in this in AK-47, much of the metal part is stainless steel, and other this gripping part or and the handling part and the barrel setting part are wood. But in M16, they are mostly aluminium and composite. So many parts, even in the recoiler, here you can see the recoiler, it's also plastic. If you fire it hard enough, this part will melt. Definitely it will melt because it's a plastic. So likewise, these many parts of this particular gun is plastic and metallic part are aluminium. Because of that, M16 is very lightweight. So even you have seen a soldier in a passing out, or if you have brother or sister in the army, you may see their backpacks. They are very heavy. Sometimes their backpacks with the gun is more than 20 kilograms. So when they are carrying an assault rifle, that weight increases more than, I think, as I can remember, 5 or 6 kilograms. But if they can use M16 without using this T56 or AK-47, it will be a great thing for them because it's lower weight. But when it comes to accuracy and range, it is not that much good like AK-47. So I can say it is reliable, but the most comment or the most reviewers says that AK-47 is much reliable and it's very simple. Mechanism is very simple. It won't get stuck during the crossfire. But so basically, what I'm saying is you can trust AK-47 rather than M16. So it's a good friend of a soldier or terrorist. So that's what I'm saying. Anyway, what I want to highlight is with the development of material, they have overcome the barriers to reduce the weight at the same time increase the effectiveness of the firearm. Not only that, even in many cases, the development of different materials, the design of materials have come a long way so that we can make things much differently, much effectively, and cost effectively as well. Right. So with that, let me come to the main topic today. We are going to discuss about metals, polymers, ceramics, and composites in this video. But since if we are going to discuss these things, all things, right? Metals, polymers, ceramics, and composite, it's going to be a long video. So I was thinking I will do some parts today in this video, and I will do the video, whole video, and I will separate into metals, polymers, ceramics, and composites in a different manner, and I will upload this video in the same way I have done it. So today we are going to learn about metal. So if you can remember the early lessons, we talked about the structure of materials, but we mainly focused about metals. But exactly we did not discuss about the properties of metals and how they behave, what is their behavior. Those things we did not discuss actually. We may solely focus on the structure, PCC structure, FCC structure, all those things. So today in this video, we are going to talk about specific properties of metals, why metals have these properties, why others or other material does not have these properties unlike metals. So let me start. In this picture, you can see many people, many man-made things, many natural things. So take a minute, pause the video and see how many different uses of metals you can spot in this picture. So pause the video and do that for me. hope you could get many things which are made out of metal. If I take some example from this corner, you can see a motor vehicle or car. So many part of even the chassis made out of metal. And in here there's a little housing structure or building. They are playing trumpets and different music instruments. They are made out of metals. And the fences and this walking support part and these different fences are made out of metals. And tree guards are made out of metals. There's an airplane, many parts of the airplane also made out of metals. I'm not saying the specific metal, they are metals or alloys. Okay. And also you can see here a pan, this made out of metals. Another kitchen structure, there's a stove, gas stove. Some parts of the gas stove is also made out of metals. And here you can see a recycle bin. It can be metal, it can be plastic either. And you can see this guy is throwing a soft drink can into the recycle bin. So normally many soft drink cans are made out of aluminum. So it is also metal. And this guy here is sitting on a wheelchair, and many parts of this wheelchair is made out of metal. And they are wearing many jewelries which also made out of metals. And this girl here is using spectacles, specs frames sometimes made out of metal, some parts. And what else we can see? So for me, I think it's all about that. So what I want to tell is, in our day-to-day life, we use many type of metals for our purposes. All the things around you is materials. It can be polymer, either metal, either ceramic, or either composite. Whatever the material is made out of those. And except wood. Okay, right. So why metals are so important? What is the reason? So in this slide you can read it out. Metals are highly valuable group of materials used for hundreds of products, and products are produced in huge quantities. Right. Before I come to that, let me ask you one question. How metals occur? We know we can't chemically make metals. We have to extract metals from metal ores. Otherwise, we can't make metals. So, actually, how these metal atoms made? So, if you have the answer, please put in the. We have a question forum in every week, so you can tell your answer there. How metal form? So, let me have your answer. I want to know whether you know this or not. Right. But let me give you a hint. Metals not made in earth. Metals are made in stars. So that's my hint. Okay. So when it comes to the production of these metals, so here you can see 35.5 million tons of aluminium were produced in 2005. So this is from 2005. And do you know what is the amount of aluminium made in 2019? It's around 70 million tons. Somewhat 2 times the amount of aluminium made in 2005. So you will see the increment of making or producing aluminium for our day-to-day use. And also the production of copper increases more than 20 times in 20th century. And gold is worth more than 10,000 pounds per kilogram. So these things make metals much valuable and useful because of their different properties unlike other materials. So the metal we have discussed in the introduction part as well. Metals have played a vital role in human development. Even the periods of civilization are classified in the names of metals. You can remember this Iron Age, Copper Age, Bronze Age, things like that. Right. So let me ask you a few simple questions. These different metals I have given. So different metals are selected for different jobs because they have a different specific properties their own. So since this in here you can click what it is, but let me tell you this. So aluminium, aurum, that means gold, copper, ferrous, and titanium. So these are few of the materials we know. So if you can see, many of the or the 90% of the gold is used to make jewelry. So here you can see the combination or see the connection of gold which it is used for, right? So gold basically used for jewelry industry, but there are other different let's say usage of gold as well. So let me tell one or two things. So if you know that in electron microscopy, right, how we can see very smaller things or tiny things from electron microscopy is we put an electron beam into the subject, it will reflect or it will scatter the electrons from its surface. Let's say it's a very tiny, let's say, a crack in the metal. So the electrons will bounce from the crack, and using a detector, we see from a computer screen that's a nanometer level or micrometer level crack in the surface. So we see it. But there's a catch. If you put a organic thing, like let's say you have seen the eye of a fly, or sometimes tongue of a frog, things like that. So to see that it is very difficult because if you hit the organic thing using an electron beam, the organic thing will evaporate or let's say burn out because of the high heat generated. So what you can do is you can put the sample in a particular chamber, and inside that chamber the sample will be covered with a nanometer level gold layer. That is how you see the organic things on a sometimes even the polymers in a electron microscope. Then it will hit the gold coated thing only. It will reflect, and you can see how the eye of the fly or tongue of the frog or different organic things, or including different type of polymer as well. So that's how gold used in some that kind of what we call application. And also gold is a good conductor and it does not corrode easily. Because of that, it is used to in very specific conducting part inside the computer processor. I think you already know that I have said this in the introduction part as well. From a processor, you know, processor is made out of silicon and germanium, all those things, and this whatever the signals should come out of the processor to the motherboard, then the RAM, ROM, all those things come to the display. So that's basically how computer operates. So to do that, the data or the signals should come out of the processor. So that connection should be very effective. For that, it has been used gold cable inside the processor from the chip to the pins under the processor. If you can see in the internet, you can just type it and you can find the processor, how it is made out and how the connections are made. That is second one, which is gold. We are using gold. And other than that, I don't know whether you know that the first space telescope we sent to the Earth orbit is a Hubble telescope to get the pictures from the deep space. Nowadays, scientists are planning to send another one. Um, I can't actually remember the name. I just saw the video a few days back, but I can't remember the name. Anyway, they are planning to send another space telescope, which is 5 times larger, a mirror 5 times larger than Hubble telescope, and that mirrors of this telescope are made out of beryllium, and the beryllium is polished very well, and to uh, keep that surface intact, they have coated the mirrors with gold, and the thickness of that gold layer is in nanometer scale, or 1 or 2 atom thick layer. So if you can even find this video in YouTube in NASA and some other YouTube channels. I don't recall the name actually. So just find the Hubble telescope or space telescope. So you will find eventually you will find the name of this particular space telescope. We are planning to send, I think, in next year, 2021. Right. So there are many specific usage or applications of gold as well, other than making necklaces, rings, and other those. Okay. So when it comes to aluminium, what is the use? You can see here. Aluminium is specific metal which is consists of very lighter weight with respect to its volume. So basically, aluminium is used to make aircraft, fuselage of aircraft, and many disposable parts like drink cans, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, things like that. Also, it is used to make these. You can see in the even in Sri Lanka, the electrical cables are also made out of aluminium. And iron, iron is used. What is the use of iron? So in many construction cases, iron is used as stainless steel for the reinforcing bars. And copper is a very good heat and electrical or the current conductor. Because of that, it is used in electrical wiring because of the high conductivity. So you may ask why we can't use copper in the electrical grid as well. So because I just told you that aluminium is used in our national grid to conduct the electricity. So there are few reasons for that. First one is, I can say copper is, value of copper is very high. That's the main reason. And the second reason, because of that value, in Sri Lanka, if you make this national grid in copper, people tend to steal those cables and sell it. So that has happened earlier in the late 70s. So in the beginning, they use copper cables for the national grid, and once there are no electricity, people tend to cut those wires and sell it in the market. So because of those things, nowadays they are using aluminium cables, which are somewhat good in conductors and also cheaper. But in case of our inside the houses and specific electrical conducting cases, still we are using copper. And titanium is a special material. The reason is the strength of titanium is somewhat equal to stainless steel. Yet the weight of titanium is quite low. Because of that, titanium is used in very specific things, mainly in aircraft. But also another good, one good reason to use titanium is our body does not reject titanium. Our body does not see titanium as an enemy. Normally, if you put another metal into our body, it will react with the body and sometimes it will kill us. But titanium, they see the titanium is inactive metal, and our body does not fight with titanium. Because of that, titanium metal and titanium based alloys are used as let's say body part replacements. So for example, you can see here artificial hip joint. So you have to uh, so you have to uh, connect these two here. So gold for necklace, aluminium is for drink cans, iron for bridge, copper for electrical wirings, titanium for artificial hip joint. Now here I told you so many things, right? So here only gold for necklace, but I told you there are more than that. So just find out those things because they will be very useful for you even in your field of study. Aluminium, not only drink cans, there are so many applications of aluminium. Iron, numerous applications. Copper, just like that. Titanium, just like that. There are so many applications, not only these few. So you can just search in Google and you will be able to find many uh, usages of these metals. Right. So with that, as I told you, those are the specific usages or applications of those materials or those metals. But these metals can be used for some specific things which we even don't think that these metals can be used for to make or to support to make this product. For example, so it is very easy to find the products made out of metals, but they are used in different ways as well. So, for example, metals are used as catalyst in Sinhala we call preraka, to speed up the reaction. So, for example, nickel is used as catalyst to make margarine. So, margarine we know Astra is a brand name for some type of margarine. So, basically, what happened in there is uh, they make oils a fat, or in other words, we say margarine, right? So they use it can be a let's say oil from animal, or it can be oil from sunflower, it can be oil from some seed, palm oil, or it can be oil from some vegetables. So vegetable oils are there also, even coconut oil. So what we can do is there's another in oil fat is in another form, and using nickel as a catalyst, we can make this fat to another type of fat form, which is very nice to see. We call butter. Oh, but not butter. It's margarine. So that is possible because of nickel. Because we can use nickel as a catalyst to make margarine. Just in the reaction, nickel is there. It will taken out after the reaction. Don't think that in margarine there is nickel. There is no nickel in margarine. Okay. In the production process, nickel is used as a catalyst. You will dip the nickel and it will take it out after the once it's done. And also, platinum is used in catalytic converters in car exhaust to clean up the fumes and reduce the pollution. So this is not the pure platinum. It is the compound of platinum is used in almost many cars nowadays. Because of the high cost of platinum, it is made out of as a compound. So that will in that way you can get a car in a affordable price. Otherwise, the price of the car will increase more than that. So in car exhaust even, platinum is used to reduce the fumes from the exhaust, the fume, the smoke basically. And also, compounds containing metals have many uses. Sometimes example in the cosmetics as well, and sometimes to making glasses, right? And in cosmetic like gold dust or things like that. Even a few months back, I even saw there is I know girls know these things very well. It's a face cleanser or say face wash. Face wash. It contains gold dust. I don't know how it is possible. It says in the tube. It says this cream contain gold dust. It is actually a color is also gold. I don't know how this is afforded, right? The cost is somewhat high, but waste I think. Anyway, so gold is this gold dust is also used in these cases as well. So numerous different type of uses we even don't think of, right? I think I'm not going to explain much of these things, but you can read it out. I will upload the slides as well. So what decides the metals are used for? So mainly uh, the way we use metals is decided with two things. First one is cost, second one is extraction method. Sometimes the extraction method also can be affect to the cost of the metals as well. So basically, the cost can be defined one thing like extraction method as well, but also the rarity of the metal, because we know that uh, earth crust, the surface crust is made out of mainly from nickel and ferrous. Because of that, we can readily extract ferrous from the iron or whatever the uh, soil we are in normal case. So it is readily available. Because of that, iron, the price of iron or the price of steel is quite low. But when it comes to gold and platinum, the cost is very high because it is very rare to find. Even if it is found, it is in milligrams. So because of that, the cost of gold is very high. So that is one reason to be some metal a costly metal. So that will be a deciding factor to use some metal for some application. So it can be expensive. So here in the example you can see the silver is a better conductor. Silver is a very good conductor, but since it is hard to find, the cost of metal is very high. Because of that, we have to go with copper. An extraction method is also a factor here because uh, metals are very reactive. Many metals are reactive. And because of that is the reason why we used to find metals as metal oxide. In iron now it is ferrous oxide or ferric oxide. We have to heat it into a high temperature, then only then we can extract metal from the iron ore. But when it comes to gold, it is in the pure form because it is not reactive that much. But the thing is, iron is rare. Copper, gold is rare. That is why it have higher cost. But some metals, unlike ferrous, metals like aluminium and sometimes zinc, magnesium, they are very reactive. But to extract it, it is very costly process because extraction method. There are several extraction methods. First one is the simplest one is get the oxide, heat it, and you can extract the metal by heating. But some metals are there, you can't get it by heating. You have to electrocute it, separate the metals and the oxygen. So that is very costly method. That is how normally we take zinc, sometimes many expensive metals as well. So that make it a very difficult process to go, and it will increase the cost of the material as well. So an example is given. Aluminium only became commonly used metal in 19th century, late 19th century, after finding a better extraction method. So earlier the extraction method was very, let's say this is the extraction method is there, but using that extraction method, you can only make 10 kilograms of aluminium per year. So that definitely will increase the cost of aluminium. But after finding some method to extract 100 kilograms per year, so definitely because of the supply is very high, the price will drop. So those things are many factors when you are becoming a technologist or engineer in profession. When you are going to work in a construction site or whatever the business or manufacturing company, so not only the engineering knowledge you should know, this basic general knowledge of how these things fluctuate, those things you should know as well. Otherwise, you will fail as an engineer. So be mind of it. Anyway, let's go to the next slide. So I'm not going to drag on this topic. Basically, these things you should know. Typical properties of metals. So we know, not other, unlike other polymers and the ceramics material, these metals have a different properties, and some properties are same or common, but some are specific only for metals, right? So first one is solid at room temperature. So that is a common way, solid at room temperature, and high melting point, good conductivity of electricity and heat, malleable, that means they can be shaped by putting forces, ductile, that means they can be drawn into wires. In Sinhala we know, we call this ahanya saha tanya guna in Sinhala. And strong, metals are very strong, and metals are very dense, or density of metals are quite high. Because of that, it is the weight of metals are also quite high. So what is the reason for metals have this particular properties? So I will talk about how these properties came to be in the next video with this slide. So until the next video, have a nice day.